So we're talking about this idea of worshiping, that God is worthy of our worship. There's some things that are just enjoyable. Would you guys agree with that? Like food? Yeah? So, our experience with food tells us usually whether we like it or not just because we've tasted it, but sometimes we will decide if we like or don't like something even when it's never been in our mouth. We judge by the looks of it or what we think the texture of it might be. We decide that we do or we don't like something, even though, like I said, we haven't eaten it. So what I want to do is I want to place some food up here in a second. What I want you guys to do is to yell out whether you think it's good or it's bad. So here, if you think it's going to be good or you know you like it, I want you to yell, yum. And if you think that it's not worth eating, I want you to yell, gross, okay? So here we go. Work with me here. Here we go. This first thing. What do you think? Oysters. How many of you guys have had them? Okay, so a few of us have had them. How about this right here? Oh, that's much better. Okay, so pizza, what about this though? Still yum, even though it's covered with tomatoes? Okay. All right, how about this next one right here? Japanese students? Some sushi? All right, how about this next one right here? Those are fried bugs, by the way. How many have had fried bugs? Anybody here? Okay, some of you guys are eating fried bugs. Cafeteria's open at 11. How about this next one right here? I have to tell you, this deals with something that was just in the news recently. This is horse meat. It might be delicious. Okay, how about this next one right here? Okay, And this last one, a state fair type of food maybe. Pig snout on a stick. Some people are like, no, I changed my mind. Okay, no pig snout on a stick. Well, you guys, we often make judgments about food without even trying them. And here's what I would like to propose to you, that sometimes we make judgments about God when we really don't even know. Maybe we've never even tried. Maybe we've never even tasted to see if God is even good. And I would like to make the following statement. And that is, if we truly know God, that we will enjoy Him. If we truly know God, we will enjoy Him. Now, I'm going to try to point this out today by sharing some attributes of God. And this attributes of God comes from His story, from the beginning of time until now, as he tells us how He's been working, His historical, and as we see what He's doing now and what He says He will do in the future. Also, some of His attributes of God come from Jesus Himself, as we look to say, here's what Jesus was like, and this is God in human flesh, so here's some of the attributes of God that we know, and also our own experience as we have dealt with God. Now, here's the important word, is fully. Because we cannot fully know God. He's not fully understandable. But what we can do is we can look out His attributes and we can understand who God is. And in fact, to fully understand knowing God is more difficult than, say, a difficult mathematical problem like this one right here. It's impossible to fully know God. And also, fully knowing God is more impossible than a test by this person right here. You see, it's impossible to fully know God, but let me tell you this. This is the important part. Although it's impossible to fully know God, He has told us He does not leave us in the dark. He's chosen to reveal Himself to us. We know some of His attributes, and I want to look at 3 of His attributes this morning with you. And again, these are 3 attributes that I say as we look at these, we will understand more of who God is, and we will be able to enjoy Him. The first one is this, that God is holy. Now, the word holy means to be set apart, or it means to be worthy of complete devotion. In fact, the name saint, when we call people who've had faith in the past, we say they were such a saint. That person, that word comes from holy ones that are set apart. Now, in much the same way that we sometimes will use the word yuck for food or gross for food that we've never even tasted, we sometimes can take a word that describes God and we can start to define it in new ways, and we start to give God the wrong label. And I think this is one of those words, because instead of thinking of holy as set apart or exalted or worthy of praise, we start to think of God as holier than thou. Have you ever heard that said before? Or you're too holy, or what holy club are you a part of? You see, God's holiness is completely different than that. In fact, this attribute is amazing. Picture it like this. God's holiness means he's separate from evil. He's separate from corruption and lies. He's separate from injustice, and he's separate from hatred. Isaiah 6:3 is often known for its use of the word holy, and it says, "And they were calling to one another, 'Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty. The earth is full of his glory.'" Now, to describe God as holy, as set apart, as worthy of praise, they could have said it one time, right? God is holy. Well, they don't just say it once. They could have said it twice, say, we want to give this emphasis. God is holy, holy. But no, they say it 3 times. Such a declaration, and to say this is an important statement. You should stop and take notice that God is holy, holy, holy. It's God's holiness that allows us to enjoy him in all the glory as he is set apart from all those evil things in the world. And when we call God holy, he's not corrupt. He's completely worthy of our devotion. Another attribute of God is that he is faithful. He's trustworthy. One of the Hebrew words of a few that are used for faithful is aman, and it means to support or uphold. And this word, faithful, by the way, is often portrayed with this word if you think of a strong parent holding a child. And you know that they can hold that child with no worries and no problem at all, and that they will protect that child. And it's God's faithfulness, his trustworthiness, that even allows us to ever place our faith in him. You see, because he's first faithful and we know we can trust him, then we turn around and say, that's it, I will trust you 100%. We can say that God and his words are objectively faithful, constant, and reliable. God's promises, we can trust him. In fact, he's proven himself to be reliable. We can look at the prophecies. We can look at what he's promised. He promised the Messiah, and he sent Jesus. Jesus said he would raise on the 3rd day, and he did, and we can trust God. He is faithful. Deuteronomy 32, verse 4 says, "He is the rock. His works are perfect, and his ways are just. A faithful God who does no wrong, upright and just is he." God is faithful. I want to look at one last attribute with you. Now, I think what's amazing is these attributes help us to understand God, but we still cannot fully know him. If we could even grasp, do you remember what Moses was told when God passed by? What would happen if Moses fully saw God? He would perish, wouldn't he? He would die. We can't fully know. We can't fully see God, but we get to see just glimpses of him as we look at his attributes this morning. And we say how amazing he is. And the last one is that God is unchanging. From a Bible dictionary, it says God's immutability, his unchangingness, right, or constancy, expresses his changeless and his faithfulness to himself, to his decrees, to his promises, and to his works. He promises to remain forever the same true God, who undergoes no change. And I like this part right here because it says no change from within himself and no change from outside of himself. You see, if God were to change, we wouldn't be able to even understand what to expect. But God never changes. He doesn't change as culture changes. He doesn't change as time changes. He doesn't change if he wakes up on the other side of the bed. He is unchanging. So whether we are faithful or not, God is always faithful because he is unchanging. James 1:17 says this, "Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like the shifting shadows." God is unchanging. So these 3 attributes, I made this statement at the beginning. I said if we truly knew God, we would enjoy him. But we don't have enough time this morning. We don't even have the capacity, the ability to fully know God. We can just look at his attributes, and I really think it leads to this idea of worshiping him. My hope is that we can taste and see that the Lord is indeed good. Now, we've only looked at 3 of his attributes this morning together. And I think if we could fully describe him this morning, that each of us would understand him more. We would enjoy him more. We would love him more, and we would be more desirous to worship him. You see, my hope is that each of us will better understand God and enjoy Him, for He indeed is good. I want to share with you a video clip many of us have seen, but I want you to think about God and His attributes as you watch this and how He's not knowable, but just trying to grasp how amazing and how holy He is part of what leads us right to His throne to worship Him. Check this out. Guys, come up. Let's worship together this God who is so amazing. He's faithful, He's holy, and He's trustworthy. And let's just worship Him. Would you guys please stand and let's worship Him together.